So today on Crazy Carl Projects,
we changed brakes and finally show off the lift. Hopefully, the last couple of times we were going to do that, it didn't work out. It works, but we've been doing the wheels, tires.
It works.
It works.
Well,
you got to watch
on,
your
on
weight.
most of the vehicles.
On Sunfires, on the maybe second gen Sunfires.
Second gen. There's only one.
I was going to say, how was there more than one
95
generation?
to 04.
That is the first gen, so yeah.
Or 05.
Yeah, Sunbird, whatever. But,
Second facelift.
Yeah, second facelift. There you go. Second facelift. The fact that it's 85/15
weight
distribution means that it's impossible to get the jacks far enough forward that it doesn't tilt forward a little bit without putting people in the trunk.
Yeah, I suggest filling up the gas tank all the way and then
counterweight
like battleship armor in the trunk.
So now we're going to see for this one. But the biggest thing I run into, I was just loosening the lugs. I had to bring them out here because I know you have to torque them to a certain rate, but I know 300 foot-pounds of torque is not right. Those front ones was the biggest nightmare, but all of them have been extremely difficult.
When you start to deform the aluminum of the rims because the wheels are torqued on so tight. I don't think any OEM calls for that.
Nope.
I hate these lock lugs. And these are the lock lugs where you can't do it. So come on.
That wasn't as tight as the front ones.
Not near as bad as the front ones, but still.
The front ones were
way
making that
too tight.
horrible squeaky noise.
It was screaming and screeching.
Imagine
But this is why you don't use an air wrench and just set it to maximum.
That wasn't 2 ugga-duggas, that was 6 or 7 ugga-duggas.
600 or 700.
Yep.
Can we break these wheels? That's what that was. But you had someone successfully do on that Sunfire.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Steel wheels.
Steel wheels.
Someone drove the lugs through the steel wheels.
And miraculously did not even damage the threads on the studs, the lug studs, at all.
We'll look up the torque spec ratings. There's torque spec ratings for these things.
Now we'll see if this thing has
We never
front heavy problems.
We never go over torque specs when we put on wheels on cars, but this car is heavy enough. We will probably do that.
Yep. And there's rubber.
Wait a second.
All right, we have problems?
Because one of the things, it's lower on the front than the rear. Did I use the wrong size puck on one side?
Maybe.
Hold on, put it back down.
Slight complication. On the other side, as you saw, it's got more of a rakish tilt. And on this side, it's actually normal. So we're fingering out what happened. We're fingering it out, as they say.
It's weird. We've had a hard time trying to line up stuff with the weld points because there's a lot of plastic under there. And it's just really low to the ground.
For whatever reason, the seam weld on the front, on the passenger side, is more sunken into the car than the seam weld on the driver's side on the front. I don't understand that, but
Well, at least we not in danger of hitting the roof.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, we'll let it down. Now we just let it down a little bit to set it on the lock point. There we go. And stable enough.
Yeah.
Front wheel drive cars, due to weight distribution, are always a little front heavy.
Yep.
So.
Because you do have
especially with a V6.
engine and transmission in the front, so it makes sense.
It works with a V8.
V6 and
Should have had a
6-speed
V8.
automatic, so there's more crap inside the transmission to give it more weight.
Guess I should have had a V8.
Could you imagine, you have those like 11-speed automatics and crap? Could you imagine how many little clutch packs are in there? How many little clutch discs are in one of those?
A lot.
There's got to be like 100 or more.
There's got to be more than one. There's at least more than one. I know that much.
Everything loose and it tightens itself back up somehow with getting it off the ground.
It's
I hate these.
because of the weight.
Yes, make sure nobody steals your base model alloys.
It came with it, I know.
Didn't order it that way. Didn't order it at all.
Some guy in Florida did. And he played golf. And his name was probably Bob.
He's your uncle.
He was smiling, Bob.
I'm under here.
So
I'm not filming out there.
we're not filming out that section yet. And what we're actually doing today is we're going to be doing the brakes.
Brake, tire rotation,
Tire
and
rotation.
hubs.
Checking the hubs. Basically, the 45,000 mile maintenance.
That sounds horrible.
I've
Look at the brakes rubbing.
I've already done the on this. I've already done the air filter replacement in here, which that's relatively easy. Air box up there. Y'all, most of y'all pretty know how to do that. And then a part of that is also a oil change and what else?
Putting on these heat shields better.
Yeah, putting on the heat shields better. Stuff like that.
This
So-
one's about to fall out.
That's kind of what we're handling today. So while we're doing this, what's some other checks we could do?
Tread, and one thing I've noticed is concerning on both of these front tires is these two treads are way more worn down than everything else.
No, officer, I wasn't speeding.
So a little less on the burnout, so maybe a pound less pressure.
It says 33, I put it at 34. I mean, I didn't figure 1 pound to do it, but yeah, I guess I'll lower them back down to 33. Look at that.
Yeah, you've eaten up the center of them.
Yeah, let's say I got to the speed limit really quickly.
Its canter is kind of funky too because it's wearing on the outside more, so it's got a little bit of a canter to it.
Yeah,
So
Chupacabra is going in the back.
good outer tread anyway, so
Yeah, we're rotating them. This should be good for rear, since it's a front wheel drive car.
yeah, but next time you're gonna have to replace them.
Oh yeah. Of course, you can always examine your shocks when it's up like this. Your bushings. Turn on the light. There we are.
Yeah, we've been checking. It's harder on the front because transmission, but everything seems solid, not making any noise.
Yep.
So the rotors actually aren't too bad. We got fancy new ones.
Yes.
All right.
And
My spark plug socket that's perpetually used on 21 millimeter lugs because I don't have a 21 millimeter lug wrench.
yeah. Oh, Kit was pointing this out. Apparently there is like
There's a bunch of loose heat shields in the track bar. There's a sway bar.
Yeah, it's like a sway bar back here, which I thought was cool. You can adjust your toe with that if you want toe. And yeah, a lot of my heat shielding is loose. Thank you, Nashville. Thank you, Nashville. I'm blaming your city.
And Indiana had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, Indiana has potholes,
But here I'll
not
show
pot
you in a minute.
canyons.
No, I'm blaming all car manufacturers because they just cannot freaking understand how to put heat shields on cars. Not even Toyota's brilliance.
That was just, I'm
Your
telling you.
Renegade, your crap out every car.
Oh yeah.
Shane Scion, the exhaust shield's fine. Well, screw that rim. Hey, look on the inside of that wheel.
See this one?
No, look on the inside. What
Yeah.
is that?
Schmutz of some kind.
You got leaking brake fluid? That looks like drips. Something has dripped.
No. something has dripped, but it's not brake fluid. I don't know.
Oh, well, huh. That's strange.
But you can see the treads are still new on the back. I didn't realize you had 80 miles on them. These should have been rotated a while ago. Oh, nice new tires going on the front.
Yep. Yep. So we'll get another 15, 20,000 miles out of these, and then new tires. So what you got going on?
Trying to get the bolts for these things off. 17 millimeter.
There's the back of them right there. One of these days,
Figure out whether it's my left or its left. So this way or that way, I'm trying both ways, and it ain't gonna move no way.
So we're having a lot of fun.
It's kind of dark down here, so
I'm trying to give you light too.
hopefully it's just the two. And then I'm going.
This rubber thing out on this side, I do not see why it's there other than to just cover up a hole.
Why it's there to cover up a hole.
It's not. There's no reason to cover up the hole. There's holes right next to it that are open. I don't know. We'll see when we get the.
Oh, they may be the removal points.
Mm-hmm.
This one has put bolts in here and here to remove it.
Which we'll get there because we're replacing the rotors too.
All right. Let's explain. Why are we doing this?
Because they have a little bit of a warp to them, so when you're braking hard, you feel it vibrate. But as far as wear, other than these being slightly warped, they're not bad. And you can see a little bit on how they wear on the inside.
Let's talk about driving styles and how good brakes become warped that aren't.
Generally, they get warped by getting hot, which means you ride the brakes, which we bought this car that way. So whoever had it, owned it in Florida, rode the brakes all the time.
Yep. Rode the brakes like grandma going to the grocery store.
I was grandma going to the grocery store.
Lou and Shane have a penchant for stabbing the brake pedal at the very last second.
Which means you can tell it's warped. Because hard braking is when you feel the warp.
It seems.
Give it just a second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We had an M&M brake apparently.
Uh-huh. Just had a 1999 flashback.
Quick, somebody start playing the Weird Al couch potato. All right, so.
I'm just moving the bolts over here so I don't forget.
Okay. I got up, and I got up for nothing apparently.
Yeah, I was just moving those bolts out so I don't try to have to find them later. Although I will, I'll forget where I put them. I forgot to check both the knee back here.
So how come you can't turn that hub?
Bub.
You probably could.
It's in park, but it's an open diff. Right?
Open diff. But it's still, see, you can turn it. It's just stiff. Because it's an open diff, but you still go through the transmission, so it still has some resistance.
Yep.
And I just realized I need these back there before over here, because I'm doing one side at a time. And we're starting with the fillable side.
There's the crazy Carl we know, and what are you doing?
Exactly.
All right. Oh, I do want to make a clarification. Actually, Kit wanted to make sure I made a clarification.
They're too big.
Oh.
Well, the front and rear push bolts are different sizes, so now I got to find 2 more bolts.
So great. So
You said adjustable sway bars, they're adjustable control arms.
yeah, I call them adjustable sway bars, I think, and he thinks they're adjustable control arms.
They're adjustable doohickeys that do a thingy.
Yes.
I'm just. It's like I've never seen a sway or a control arm on a multi-link rear suspension setup where they made it like a tie rod where it's adjustable. I don't.
Yeah.
Every other car I've seen that's front wheel drive just has set rear. What's the word?
So yeah.
My brain.
Anywho,
At least not on 4-wheel drive stuff. On non 4-wheel drive stuff.
Normally, the suspension geometry is set from the factory and cannot be changed unless you've crashed it.
I didn't crash.
Well, then you have nothing to worry about. Well, hey, if you do crash it a little bit and it does get wonky, you can adjust it back to right.
Going on?
This is a brake setup I've never seen before. It's got spring pins like this that sits in there. So it's got a spring return. Those are springs. I've never seen that before.
I've seen lots of brake replacement videos where they have those.
Pretty cool.
Got the caliper bracket off. Now, this new kit comes with replacement boots. These boots are in good shape for these slide pins, but I don't know, I guess it's just these fancy Evolution Super Stop brake kit that comes with fancy new boots.
I come with one little packet of grease, which is kind of...
Yeah, we're gonna clean out these slide pins, and they're very mobile, so they're good, but I don't know, do this every time or you'll end up with, you skip a lube job on these slide pins one time and you end up with a caliper that's frozen, and you know, 10 or 2,000 miles down the road you need to replace your disc again because your brake caliper is clamped to it and caught on fire. What do you think? What say you?
I didn't even know you could do it. I just bought new
Oh, that's
calipers.
right. I just showed you how to do this.
Yeah, because I always just bought a whole new caliper when those messed up.
Oh, it wasn't the caliper that's the issue. It's the slide pins on the bracket.
I new assembly when that would mess up because I thought there was more to it than that. But I avoid brakes if I can. Which is getting where I can't.
My dad showed me these. He taught me about this. Okay.
Oh, and bolt size, thread and bolt still 125 for the back, but it was
Thread pitch.
yeah, it was 1.25 thread pitch, and this ended up being really an M8 bolt. And the front ones I think were M10.
Hopefully that means something to y'all, because it
I
doesn't
think
mean...
that was an M10 and this is an M8. I'm not sure on the front though, because they're bolts I just bought that fit. I have to do thread pitch test on them. Well, it's not thread pitch, but diameter. But these are hex because all I have in this size.
Let me get back to this, and you get back to us when you've made some progress over there.
Trying to loosen these. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this while I can. Ow. I need a second bolt probably to hold that. But this is 14, and then of course the one holding the caliper on is 17. And I need a 14mm wrench because this one's just spinning.
Okay. We're getting these slide pin boots out. I know these aren't in bad shape, but car's from 2016. We have the parts. There's no harm in putting the new ones in.
I don't want to do this again.
So what I'm doing is, I've already got this one out, but you get you a little flat screwdriver or like a, what's it called? Like a, what am I trying, what is it called? Words just gone from my brain. What is this thing called?
Chisel.
Dry chisel, cold chisel, whatever you call it. You just put your caliper bracket in a vise. It has already come off a little bit, but yeah. You get you a little hammer and you tap it in a couple places till it shoots right off of there. And what you're going to want to do to put the new one in, the new boot, you're going to want to find a socket that the boot can fit inside of, and it catches just catches this outer ring. And you'll just tap it in there. Well, I'm gonna clean out this a little bit first. But let's get back to you when I start tapping this in. Okay, I got this hole cleaned out. And there's another thing to note. On most cars, caliper, slide pins, one or both of the slide pins will have, they'll be probably different size. So they won't fit down the wrong hole. But they'll have these little rubber O-rings at the end, and you'll want to replace those. Got this new boot tapped in there. Used a 22mm on these. Fit over the rubber perfectly fine. Just made contact with the metal outer ring. Now we're gonna put a little bit of grease on our new slide pin, stick it in there, and move on to the next one. And is there anything you want to add?
Well, basically these
crap,
rear brakes
those are tiny.
They're tiny and they have almost no wear on them. Those things are pretty close to the size of the new ones.
Do those look? They look kind of glazed.
They're a little glazed, yeah, but not bad.
All these brake discs on here are black, not silver.
A big problem I'm having is figuring out how to get it off the parking brake. I gotta look this up, I think.
Okay.
So, Yomita-gan.
Drum brakes. Toyota, you get disc brakes, you still get drum brake.
We heard you like drum brakes.
They have a little rubber plug in this. You'll have to take the plug out and then turn this around until you get this lined up with this hole, and then it lines up with this, and you'll have to adjust this down to pull these in so that the parking brake will let go.
So if you can see in there, there is a star wheel that is for your drum brake parking brakes, because you got drum brakes for your parking brakes.
And this is what was scrubbing back here. So
yeah,
you can see where it's cut into the disc. Your problem was your parking brake was adjusted way too far out.
It should auto adjust. So how do you make it not adjust too far?
I'm just not going to adjust it, but it should self adjust. I have no idea why it did that.
I don't know if that works on these old cars or these new cars where you gotta drive really fast in reverse and slam on the.
Well, it ain't gonna do it on the parking brake.
You drive real fast in reverse and stomp on the parking brake lever.
And the car keeps going. That'll be a real surprise for the people behind me.
Where is the box of discs?
Which where is it uses? Huh?
Where are the new?
Oh, they're behind
over
heat
here.
shield.
So, yeah, we got that out. Yay! We got.
This was the most aggravating thing, and finding anything that said anything about it was a challenge. I already knew it was a problem because this is always the aggravation with Toyota brakes, is you have a drum brake inside of it.
They heard you like drum brakes.
Which I'm gonna put some brake clean this up because this is.
Yep.
But otherwise, I think it's all right.
Okay. Now you get to do it
on the other side.
Yes. I might do that. What are you doing over here? Nice art project.
Yeah, it's, happy little trees here, happy little trees there. I'm putting way too much of this on here. Just trying to make sure the new brake doesn't stick to the little, because it sort of presses on to this little outer taper here.
Easier next time.
Yeah.
So that's anti-seize is what I was getting.
Rear
at.
side. I got the right one. These are actually marked passenger. The rear ones are marked passenger and driver's side. So
I got these off of Rock Auto. I don't remember how much I paid for them. Probably too much.
I don't know. I know I'm gonna just make sure they're not greasy.
Yep. Woo. And he's doing the same thing there. That's just brake clean. Just spraying them down. Make sure they're not.
The back side first, and once I get it all up here properly, then I'll spray the front off.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I need the can. I need for the front.
Alright. There we go.
That's annoying. There.
Yeah, I'll see the process.
That's gonna fall off and shatter.
No anti-seize on the back because there's a drum brake there.
So after we get the caliper on and everything, we're going to spray it down with brake clean, and not a sponsor. And we will, just to make sure we didn't get hand goo in the wrong spots and yada yada yada. And since the rotor just keeps slipping off, we're just borrowing a lug nut and holding the rotor on for right now. Did you happen to use anti-seize on the back?
Well, no, there's a drum brake.
That would be very entertaining for you for 5 seconds. Then you might have to explain to some people why I'm in the hospital. Well, correction, it's me. You might not have to explain why I'm in the hospital.
Well, no, just tell them exactly what you told me to do. Use anti-seize on your parking brake.
So don't anti-seize your parking brake.
I wanted to show this real quick because it's something different I've never done on these. This has where you put your own scrubbers. Just looked at how they were set up on the old pad, and it comes with new ones in the kit. And you want to make sure it's a little bar down.
I don't want to devalue your perspective, but I don't think those are meant to be scrubbers. I think those are just retaining clips.
Don't know.
They don't go.
They go.
You would be scrubbing the metal freaking backing plate.
You're just off of the backing plate with the end, so those are probably your scrubbers. Otherwise, there's no scrubbers on these. Okay, doing the back, they're different from other ones. The front ones kind of went in back.
What?
How they should be. That's kind of how the front one does, and it's not
I
as
don't.
complicated as the weird things on the back. Well, they are, but they're standard Toyota. The back ones are weird. They've got a little push-in tab. This right here that you have to compress down into it. So I've gotten one side on.
I need
This side will go here this way, and get those pads on, and it's all back together. And this time the pins on this one went in fairly easily. Instead of being pressed with the metal, these have just a little capture thing, and they captured in and captured on these bolts, and it all went together easily. Unlike the front one, that was kind of a fight.
Okay, compressing the brake calipers, basic C-clamp, using the old brake pad.
Squishing the piston back in. We've got the brake fluid reservoir cap cracked, lifted up a little bit.
Up there.
So the fluid has some place to go. And yeah.
Doing the bull dance, feeling the flow.
I might as well just... I don't want to actually do that all the way. Hopefully that's enough to get around these new massive carbon ceramic brakes. Brake pads.
I spent the money for carbon ceramic.
See, this is what I'm talking about. See? They're squished. They're squished. Carl's afraid of it not getting squished. There we go.
Now lining the holes up, putting the pins in, doing the bull dance, feeling the flow.
What does that mean?
It's from Happy Gilmore.
My mom went to high school with a bunch of people from the Happy Gilmore movies.
Okay, got these back in. These pushed down. Got the caliper pressed in with the big old vise. And getting ready to put the rear back together. Gonna cut this, put this on there. Already bolted the back. And I'll bolt these up. And we've got one of the fronts pretty much back together. And we'll start on the other side.
We won't show the other side.
Okay, we got the other driver's side off. And you can see how the clips are positioned in here. So you can see how the old ones are and those pins. So you can see it, or if you're trying to remember how the new ones went in.
Yeah.
Yeah, pull that. And these you just knock out. The rear ones are a little
Dang
nicer,
it.
they're rubber.
If we could get a vise that's worth a crap.
It's a vise.
Gotta work it around the edges. And then eventually it just goes shooting out.
There we go.
And I do one of them at a time so I can make sure I don't get them mixed up and go, which one does which hole go into?
Yeah, and we'll clean out the holes with old rag, a screwdriver.
Put in new lube on the slide pins. Good to go, and I already showed
And it came with,
how you put those on.
yep. So, there to go.
Is there something wrong?
Okay, I'm trying this one the other way. Take these off. Use a zip tie to hang it up here from the spring to the bolt hole. Just remove the caliper part and hang it up, and then I can get to the brakes to do all this stuff. I've got these, and this is different from the front ones, which are the press-on ones. These are little inside ones that you pull the bolt out same way, then you just pop that out like that. Clean out the hole, and then you'll pop the new one in there just like that again. And then slide this top part over the little groove on the bolt.
We
Alrighty.
bled the brakes after getting everything reassembled. Bled the brakes just a little bit. Get the old fluid out of the calipers.
I'm checking the coolant now.
He's checking the coolant now, which is part of the 45,000 mile thing.
Now, if you didn't have wimpy rims on here that look clean as hell, the cool slotted and drilled discs would look awesome. I don't know.
Okay, your coolant is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Good till to minus 52. Its balance is go to step 3, but step 3 is okay. It's sitting around 9 pH. So it's fine. A couple years probably before you need to have it flushed.
So, yeah, that's pretty much what it is, other than an oil change, which we're not filming the oil change.
Forgot to get the oil anyways.
Yeah.
Make sure the hose over there is out of the way.
I'm going to. I was tightening the cap down before he took off with the cap.
Why would I take off with the cap?
The hose has to be outside of the thing, otherwise we can't move the clamp. There we go.
And you're gonna have to torque the tires on.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let y'all worry about that. Okay, well, thank you very much for hanging out.
Next time, like, share, subscribe, and have a good one.